Hey, this is Rahul Nath. In this video, let's look at Azure Key Vault as a connected service. This allows us to get started with Key Vault pretty easily. Let's switch to Visual Studio to see how this is in action. What I have here is an ASP.NET web application which is targeting the .NET Framework 4.7.1. This will also work with .NET Core. To add Key Vault as a connected service, right-click on Connected Services and say Add Connected Service. This brings up the dialog where you can say Secure Secrets with Azure Key Vault. Clicking that takes you to the Key Vault Edition page within the Visual Studio. Note that the account that Visual Studio is logged in is the same as what is getting used to add the Key Vault. So if you can see, this is now getting created under my account, which is the same as the one that I have logged into Visual Studio. Visual Studio by default populates some of the details for the Key Vault. You can go and edit it. For now, I'll leave it with the defaults. Clicking Add goes and provisions the Key Vault in your Azure subscription. Once the Key Vault is successfully added, it pops up a page which shows the details of what has been changed in the application. If we switch back to Visual Studio, we can see that there's been some files that's added here. Also, there are a bunch of NuGet packages which is referring Key Vault and also the configuration builder for Azure. This is what allows us to connect to Key Vault without much effort. Let's look at the web.config. In the web.config, you can see that there is a configuration builder that's added, and then there's also a configuration which is specified for Key Vault, which has the Key Vault name that we just added, and also using the Azure Key Vault config builder. To start using this in the app settings, let's go and add config builders and give the name of the config builder. In this case, it's Azure Key Vault. Note that you can give comma separated list over here, which could be different sources of configurations. To get a key, let's assume that we have a key in the Key Vault, say secret. You can give a value which will be used when we are not able to connect to Key Vault. So this, for now, I'm just giving it as dummy. Let's now switch to the portal to see where the Key Vault is created. If I hit refresh, we should be seeing the Key Vault that we just created. We'll go inside and add a value for the secret. So I'll go and generate a secret and say the key and enter the value as secret and create the secret inside the Key Vault. Now that we have the Key Vault and the secret ready, we should be able to use it from our application. So let's switch back, go to the controllers and get the configuration value like you would do for any value from the configuration. I'll use configuration manager here and say .app settings and then get the value by the key secret. Let's put it inside a view bag so that we can access it from the UI. Let's go to the appropriate page. Remove all this as we don't need that again. And let's say viewbag.secret. So this should just display the secret that we entered in Key Vault on the web page. Hitting F5 and waiting for it to build. Let's see what happens. There you go. You have the secret value that's coming from the Key Vault. This is just a quick introduction to the Azure Key Vault as a connected service. This allows you to get started and move your keys into the Key Vault pretty easily. To see the real-world use cases, do check out my blog. Thank you.